I was beaten as a child and I turned out fine. I want to start by saying something clearly. If you've said this, if this is something your family believes, I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to shame your parents. This belief actually comes from love, from wanting to make sense of your own childhood, from a deep loyalty to the people who raised you. But here's what I want to explore with you today. What if fine isn't the right measuring stick? What if the real question isn't, did you survive, but who you could have been without the fear? I am Ankita Chandak. I'm a Montessori expert, I'm a positive parenting and neuroscience coach. Every week on this channel, I talk about science backed parenting tips, tricks, techniques for real Indian families. So please hit the subscribe button and we keep meeting every week. I turned out fine. That sentence compares you to a disaster that didn't happen, to abuse, to serious harm. But that's an extremely low bar, right? Let's ask another question. Who might you have been? Most adults I sit with who are hit in childhood describe the same three things: a moment of shame that still lives in their body, a complicated relationship with the parent who did it, you know, there was love, but there was also, a lot of hitting side by side, and patterns they are now working hard to unlearn. Those things don't make you broken, but they do suggest that fine has a ceiling, and that research shows us clearly that ceiling could have been much higher. Fine is a very low bar to set. All right. Now, what does neuroscience say? What is really happening in a child's brain when they're hit? And what actually works instead? How to handle the family members who believe this is simply how children should be raised is what we're going to talk about in today's video. What happens in the brain? Researchers have used brain imaging to study children who had been spanked, not abused, spanked specifically. The kind that most Indian families wouldn't even call discipline. Just a quick smack when the child crosses a line. And you know what they found? The brains of these children showed heightened activity in the threat detection regions. The same neural patterns, now these are the same neural patterns found in children who had actually experienced more serious harm. So their brains learn to see their parent as a potential source of danger. The child still loves the parent, of course they do. Children are wired for attachment, but alongside the love, the brain has made a note that this person sometimes hurts me. Stay watchful. There has been years and years of research on thousands of children which shows the same consistent pattern. Physical punishment equal to more aggression, equal to more behavior problems and worse mental health, and a weaker relationship with a parent over time, right? Not in every child, but this is a pattern that's there. Now let's talk about but it worked problem, right? But when I was smacked, I stopped the behavior. Yes, immediately. And that's the trap. Punishment works on the surface. The child stops fast. And when we experience that as proof is when we do it even more. But what actually happened, right? Arjun's brain stopped not because he feared pain, but because he understood why. The thing we actually want to build, right? The internal compass, the value, the understanding. That learning doesn't happen. What happened instead to Arjun? This gets me hurt. So when an adult is watching, I stop only there. And this is why children disciplined mostly through fear often show more behavior problems as they grow older. They don't show fewer behavior problems. The compliance is never internal. It is about who's watching, and I'm going to behave only when someone is watching. That is what happens. All right. Now, I want to say something that is actually not there in any research paper. Most of the parents that I work with, the ones who are asking these questions, what actually hit themselves. And they come to this work of parenting carrying something very complicated. They love their parents. They also know something was wrong. And holding both those things at once, love and acknowledgement of that pain, that is a very hard emotional work a person can do. So that's where you are. You're not betraying your parents by asking for something better. You are just completing something they couldn't finish. All right. And now you can choose to break the cycle and, don't repeat the same cycle with your children. That's obviously there. But let's talk about how it can be done. So let's talk about the clear framework, CLEAR. Sing for connection before correction. If there is a child who's scared and living in fear, that child cannot absorb a lesson. Their thinking brain will be offline. So before any discipline, you have to get close, get calm, make eye contact, tell the child, come here, sit with me. From connection, learning is possible. From fear, it is not. L for limit, but limits with love. Now, two sentences that should always go together is what you did is not okay, and I love you completely. So, if only Arjun hears the limit without the love, he feels shame. If he hears love without the limit, there is no guidance. So, both together is the magical formula. All right. E, emotion first. Before the lesson, you can name what is happening inside him. You know, you were really frustrated when Ria took your toy. That makes sense. So, you're not excusing or discounting the bad behavior. You are acknowledging the state that led to it, you know. Now, that's the difference between punishment and discipline. Punishment is asking, what did you do? Discipline is asking, what was happening inside you? And now, what do we do with it? And they're completely, completely different. Now, A is accountability, but without the shame. You know, shame says, I'm back. Accountability says, I did something that wasn't okay and I can make it better. I can improve over time. So, okay, what can we do now to make this right with Ria? You know, that question, that repair is the whole learning in this situation. And R, which is replacement behavior, you cannot remove a behavior without replacing it. You know, Arjun hits when frustrated because hitting gives him release. Your job is to teach him something else that meets the same need, you know. When you feel that way, you can squeeze the pillow, you can say, I'm so frustrated in a big voice, you can run to the end of the corridor and release your physical energy, right? Behavior may not disappear, but behavior can transform, and your job is to guide what it becomes. And when family members disagree, please don't get into the zone of winning every argument. You know, you just need one sentence. In our home, we are raising children without physical abuse or discipline. And this is important to us. I will appreciate your support. There's no accusation, there's no fight. You will just say what your value system is, what matters to your children. And when your children watch you hold that boundary calmly, they learn exactly what you're trying to teach them every single time as well. Now, for the adults who are carrying that pain, who've experienced this in their childhood, I want to end with something I really mean sincerely. If you were hit as a child, you deserve better. There's no two thoughts about it. But your parents did the best they could with what they were given. And now you're doing something remarkable. You're asking whether there's a better way. Even when no one has role modeled it for you to do that is not small. It's a really big win. And every generation that does the work, that asks this question, makes the next generation's baseline a little higher. So you're not just parenting Arjun and Ria, you're actually changing what gets passed down the generations. Raise is my 3-day live intensive where we do this work with full support. Link in the description. There's also a webinar which you can join. So please take help. There's a lot of parenting help available. Just come to the webinar and see if that's something you're interested in. And don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. I'm going to see you next week with another video.